How you doing, Adrian? Nice to have you back on the podcast again.
Nice to be back, Adam. Really nice. Thank you very much, as always, for inviting me on. Love it.
Yeah, no, you're very welcome. It's always great. We was talking previously, like a few minutes ago, about lots of good things. I think one thing that did resonate with me was, like staying true to yourself and kind of knowing yourself. And you mentioned like, dipping your toe in the water, and if something doesn't feel right, then kind of listen to that.
Yeah, I just think it's very important that we aren't rash in any of our decisions in life. Life is precious. What I'm about to say is just the bleeding obvious, but we need to remind ourselves sometimes of the obvious things because it's true. So life is very short and life is very precious, and we need to be careful that we aren't going to waste our time, and B, that we know what it is that we're investing our time in because it's so precious. So I think that we need to be careful and assess things really carefully before we take the plunge or we take the jump, whatever aphorism you want to use. But yeah, so dip your toe in the water, make sure it's right for you, whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job that you're going for, whether it's starting a business, whatever it is, make sure it's right for you. Don't just go all in. I think that's it sounds like, well, that's obvious, Adrian, but you'd be surprised how many people just take the plunge before testing the waters, and then later they're like, well, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah. No,
so I just think this is just it's just revisiting what we learn basically as young people, as children. You don't just do something, you make sure that that you have some sort of background knowledge about what it is you're about to do. I see a lot, especially on LinkedIn, a lot of people are saying, just do it. If you're thinking about doing a podcast, if you're thinking about writing a book, just do it. Okay, maybe at that level there isn't really much that can go wrong, but for a lot of people who are making much, much bigger decisions with their lives, with their finances, with their relationships, be it romantic or business, you need a little more, and I'm being probably an understatement there, you need a lot more care and attention, and you shouldn't just make the leap if you feel that something isn't quite right. And if you feel that something isn't quite right, then it would probably be in your best interest to pull away, to walk away.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think, like you said, it's a lot of your time and energy that is going to be going into that thing, whether like that's a relationship or whether that's a job. And I thought about it recently when, I went for an interview. I think I mentioned it to you. And it took me an hour to get there. And I was thinking to myself, like, even if I was going to get it or go for it, do I want to be driving an hour to work? Do I want to be driving for, I kind of broke it down. I had to take a step back. And it's like, it didn't really feel right to me. And I was like, well, okay, well, that, I'm not going to do that then. Because
it's your life, and you are the one that's in control of your own life. And no matter what positions we find ourselves in life where we think, my back's against the wall, I'll do anything, that can be a dangerous state of mind to have. That can actually put ourselves in even more or even worse predicament than the predicament we find ourselves with a back against the wall. And that's why even at that stage, we mustn't just blindly take the leap of faith. We have to still study everything. Is it right for me? Am I jumping out of the frying pan into the fire? I was in a very, we didn't talk about this actually before we came on air, but I was in a very, so odd that you've just mentioned that, because that's exactly what happened to me, 7-10 days ago. I was offered a job. I was offered work with a rather good, attractive salary attached to it. And I had to go away and think about it. The money was great, but there was something nagging me about the actual central premise of the work itself. And I wasn't completely comfortable with it. My back is against the wall financially. My back is against the wall in many regards. And so work is necessary for me. I need money. However, just like you, I decided I'm not going to compromise about things that are important to me and are important to my life and are important to my morals, my ethics, my beliefs. And that's why I pulled the plug on it. I called the HR guy and I said, I'm sorry, thank you so much for the offer, but I've decided it's not right for me.
Mm.
And I think this is why it's very important for people to not just to test the waters, because sometimes you can't test the waters. You couldn't test the water with that job. I couldn't test the water with my job. I couldn't go in and try it for a week or two. It was either sign up on the dotted line or walk away.
Yeah.
And so that's when you can't test the water with the job. You have to be testing it with you, yourself. You're not just looking at the job now. You're just not looking at the opportunity. You're not just looking at the relationship, the other person. You're looking at yourself. And you're going, who am I? What is it that I want? What is it that I need? What are my beliefs? What are my needs? Is that business, is that relationship meeting my needs? Or am I sacrificing everything that I am to fit their narrative? And as I said, I appreciate people listening to this going, yeah, it's all very well. I want to reiterate, yes, I understand that when your back is against the wall, as mine is, sometimes you think, I'm just going to do anything. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
All I'm saying to those people, and I say this to myself, because sometimes I just think, I'll just do anything. I need money. I'll just do anything. But really, really think seriously before you make that particular jump, because we are talking an expense, which is, and that expense is not financial, it's human. It's your life. It's your mental health. It's your physical health. It's the health of your relationship. If you're not happy in that job, if you're being taken advantage, how's that going to affect you? Are you going to be better for taking that job? Or would you actually be better not have taken that job and waiting for the right one? So that's what all I'm saying is, obviously, each person is an individual and they have to make their choices. But all I'm saying is think very carefully. Ask yourself the questions. Never mind about, oh, there's the job. Oh, I've been offered that money. Oh, okay, go, done it. Be sure.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think, like you said, you know, everyone's got their own opinion, haven't they, on things. But I think, you know, that's quite, you know, I couldn't agree more with what you said. And I find, like, I thought about it recently, you know, when I was offered this other interview, and then I thought to myself, do I really want to be doing that? And I was like, would I be happy? No. You know, if I went through it and I'm not happy, then it's going to affect probably, you know, the workplace, and it has an effect on them as well. Because if you're not happy in a place, that kind of, like, you know, people pick up on that, and you're not going to be performing the same compared to someone who is happy.
Absolutely. This is something that's often overlooked. How one person can affect an entire office just through their persona, through what they're feeling. If you've ever worked in any form of sort of office or colleague environment, and you're all very happy, and that one person walks in and they've just got a thunderous face, or, you know, they've been in a real mood. Maybe they've just, you know, split up from their girlfriend or their wife, and they come in and it just changes the atmosphere. You're absolutely right. So do you want to be that person? Do you want to be going to work every day thinking, I absolutely hate this? And people can feel it. They can feel it emanating from you.
Yeah, I've seen it, you know, hospitality a lot when I worked in hotels. Some chefs, you could just tell, you know, they didn't want to be there, and you'd be with them like first thing in the morning, and, you know, it's long hours, so they're there all day, And yeah, it's very, you see it, and I feel sorry for people who are in that space, in that situation, because I mean, I say, a lot of people say, work at something, do that, and then try and build on that and find something else alongside it.
Yeah, I was told the same, mate. My
Yeah.
family, especially the older generation, because that's what most of them have had to do. They made sacrifices, massive sacrifices, some of them.
Mm.
And they look at us in the generations since theirs, and they say, well, look, we went through hell. There's no reason why you shouldn't. And I take a little bit of issue with that. I don't think we should. I understand that every generation is different, and every individual is an individual and is therefore different. But we must try and find where we belong, where we fit in, because we all have skills, we all have gifts, we all have abilities. What would be the point? Truly, what would be the point of you knowing those skills, knowing those abilities that you have, which we should find out. If you don't think you've got any, you just need to find them. But if you know you've got certain skills, you've got certain attributes, you've got certain strengths that you have, why would you then go and do a job that doesn't utilize any of those? Oh, I love, let's imagine that you're an excellent freehand artist or something, and really you should be going into something along the lines of graphic design, but you then go and become a train driver. Where is the correlation? Where are you going to utilize those skills, except in your own spare time, if you have any, if you're compelled to after doing a 15-hour day, let's say? You have skills, try and find out where you belong with those skills. And the point of that is that you are then going to not only enhance yourself and enhance those skills. Funny enough, you build upon those things that you already have within you. You're going to be giving something to the world, which we need. We need people who have certain skills to be showing them, to be benefiting others.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I think it makes me think when I used to do one job, I was working in in a bar, and I remember thinking to myself I knew deep down that I did enjoy it for the most part, but part of me thought to myself, my time is going all into this, and I was thinking about my time, and I was thinking, what is it? Where can my time be going? I used to feel really bad, and I think about the podcasts I've been doing, and I was thinking to myself if I was doing a job that I didn't enjoy, or for however many hours, I wouldn't be doing what I've been doing.
Correct.
But I know people's situations are different. They've got kids, they have to work, put food on the table. But there is that silver lining within it where you can find your thing if you look for it on the side. Do you know what I mean? I was listening to a podcast with Joey Diaz, stand-up comedian, and he was talking about the situation in America, and he was saying a lot of them aren't getting unemployment checks and all the rest of it, and they're comics, and they can't go out really to do stand-up, and he was saying, how humble are you? You're a comic, you're really good, but he said I know comics who are having to get a construction job.
That's
or
right.
a waitering job.
Yes.
He said, how this is a test of how humble you are.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And I hope I haven't miscommunicated myself in saying that there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing a job that you need to do.
Yeah.
My belief is on this earth, on this planet, nothing is wasted. Nothing. And I include experiences in that. So whatever it is you are doing, even if it's not what you want to be doing, the experience you're having in that job, in that relationship, whatever it is that you are currently involved with, that maybe you are not at the peak of happiness, that experience in itself hasn't been wasted on you. Take that experience. You've learned from it because already you know that you're not happy in it. So it's already taught you something. First of all, it's taught you what you don't like. Secondly, it's taught you resilience, that you are still going to that job and you're still working at it and you're still doing your best because it's just the right thing to do. So nothing is wasted. You haven't wasted your time. If people saying, oh, I'm still in this job, I hate this job, whatever. Don't look at it from that perspective. You can, by all means, and we all do. I've been there. Hate being in this job. I've been here 5 years. Turn it around. Just have that thought. Get it out there. Get it off your chest. Speak it. Say it. Shout it. Whatever. And then suddenly look at it from a different perspective to balance. We need balance in life. So once you've had the negative, start allowing the positive to filter through and say, well, what has this experience taught me? Well, it's taught me these things, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that life has taught me this, 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 and this. You will find that you will have learned things doing something you don't like. You will have learned things from being in relationships that didn't work. If you'd only ever, think of a fantasy world where you only, you left school, you left college, you went straight to the job of your dreams, you married the partner of your dreams. How would you know you were happy? How would you know those were your dreams? We need to experience things that we don't like in order to know what we do like. Or at least to appreciate what we do like.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that's why it's so important, I find, to try things out, isn't it? Try different things out. And
absolutely.
I remember when I had you on previously, and you mentioned you traveled, you've been to different countries, and you've done different things, and you've almost got these different lenses almost to life.
For which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah.
I will always say this in all of your podcasts whenever you bring it up. My life isn't for everybody. I wouldn't dare give guidance to anyone. Go and do what I did, because it's not for everybody. But it taught me a lot. Living in other countries, doing jobs in other countries, learning other cultures, other languages. It taught me a lot about life, as people say, but really what we mean when we say that, it taught me about me. When people say, oh, you're going to learn about life. No, what you're really learning about, let's be accurate with the language here, you're learning about yourself. You're learning about your limitations. You're learning about your mindset. You're learning about your strengths, and you're learning about your weaknesses. And the whole learning process, the whole thing is about one thing. How are you going to alter those for the better? How are you going, you keep hearing this phrase, be the best version of yourself. What on earth is that? I'll tell you what that is. And that is knowing what you're not, seeing yourself, warts and all, and trying to improve upon that. Being involved in something that challenges you, and then thinking, you know what, I want to improve myself. I didn't realize I was like that. It's only when you come up against a challenge and then you think, I need to improve myself to get over this challenge, get over this dilemma that I find myself in. And that's growing. That's learning about yourself and growing. It's not just running away or going to a corner and crying about it because you're finding life a little difficult. It's not life you're finding difficult. It's yourself that you haven't been able to change your mindset to deal with the problem that's in front of you. It's not I think there's a famous saying that there's always been said that it's not the problem, it's your attitude to the problem.
Yeah.
And that is what we have to deal with that every day. I have to deal with it every day. Again, it doesn't matter how many times you read these sayings. It's good for, and you go, oh, it's a cliche. I keep hearing that. Yeah, but are you taking it on board? I need to hear that every day because you just forget them. You say them, you read them. 5 minutes later, you've forgotten it and you're back to your old self again, moaning about this, complaining about that. We have to keep reminding ourselves, actually, yeah, I've got to change my attitude towards this. It's so easy to be negative. It's so easy to fall off the wagon. You want to quit smoking? You want to reduce your drinking? Easier said than done.
Mm.
It's so easy to fall off. As the saying goes, like falling off a log. It's so easy. It's hard to stay true, stay disciplined. It's very, very hard. And that's why we need to keep reminding ourselves. We need to keep telling ourselves, this is why I'm here. I'm here to improve myself.
Mm.
Instead of just moaning about it and complaining, the world is unfair, life is unfair, people are unfair. Yeah, that's part of the problem. But the other part of the problem, I'm afraid, is yourself and your attitude towards that.
Mm. Yeah.
And don't think that I've always been like that. I'm not just saying, oh wow, I've lived this life like that. No, I haven't. I've been the worst person for moaning about life, complaining about life, and saying that it's the world's fault. It's other people's faults that I am where I am, or I'm not where I want to be.
Yeah.
And thinking that the world owed me a living.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? It's we have to be very, very self-disciplined, and we've all got habits and we've all got behaviors, and so a lot of the time we kind of can be on autopilot, and we can
That's the most dangerous thing ever. I want people, if they're aware they're on autopilot, to switch that autopilot off. You need to be in control all the time. You need to be aware. If you want to call it mindfulness, call it mindfulness. I'm not big on buzzwords or anything else, but be, like I said, be in the moment. Be aware of what you're doing. Yeah. If you're on autopilot, you need to ask yourself why you're on autopilot. Is it because your heart's not really in what you're doing? And if it isn't, just be honest with yourself. Just say, you know what, I really couldn't give a damn about this, and I need to find something else. Great. That's stage one. That's step one. You are now aware of a problem. Now you can begin to deal with that problem, which is, well, what is it that I do want to do? What do I think even? Because maybe none of us actually, not none of us, some of us, a lot of us don't actually know what it is we want to do. Yeah. How would you know that you would like to live in South America if you've never been to South America? You wouldn't. How would you know if you really wanted to live and work and raise a family in Australia if you've never been to Australia? Yeah. You need to have those experiences to know that is something you want to do. And that's the same with work. That was my problem throughout my life with finding a job I wanted to do. I had an issue, and I still do have an issue with modern education, is that at 16, by and large, the education system wants you to choose what path you want to take for the rest of your life. I was of the GCSE generation. I was only the second year to do the GCSEs. And we had to choose which subjects we wanted to do, which were then going to basically make some sort of a pathway towards our future. And I just thought, why do I have to choose at 16? I don't know really what I want to do in my life. I thought I might like to do archaeology because I really enjoyed watching Raiders of the Lost Ark. I thought, that's pretty cool. I want to be like Harrison Ford. I want to be like, going through Egypt and digging up, old tombs of pharaohs. Yeah, and to be honest, I still do. I wouldn't mind if that position came up doing that. But at 16, that I didn't have any real experience of anything else. And I was jealous of a few of my friends who knew exactly what they wanted to do. They knew they wanted to be accountants. They knew they wanted to be lawyers. I don't know how they knew, but they just knew. And I didn't have that conviction. This is what I want to do. Yeah.
No, it's
So this is why dipping the toe in the water is so important. Now, I think, going off on a tangent here,
No.
It'd be nice if businesses could offer. I'm sure some do. They probably have a deal with some schools. I'm out of touch with the schooling system these days, but if it could become mainstream, I think it would be great if there were away days for kids to go around an office or a business or a factory floor, doesn't matter what it is or what level, just to see what the world of work looks like. It should be part of the curriculum, and it shouldn't just be a one-off thing. It should be done every year from the ages of 8 upwards. I don't see what the big deal is. You know, I think that I think it's probably the USA. Again, I don't know. I've never been there, but you hear things on the TV that they have a bring your kid to work day in some offices. And I thought, when I saw that on TV, I thought, what an inspired idea.
Yeah.
Show your kids what it is that mummy and daddy do. And it shouldn't just stop there with the parents. The businesses should be saying, look, this is what we've got to offer, and, you know, maybe you'd like to think about it. I don't think that the buck should stop there, though. I mean, that's just the beginning. I think international travel is essential for a lot of kids.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would be. I'm not going to. I've got no solutions as to how people are going to finance this, but it would be a dream if children could have a wider knowledge of the world before they set off to go to work. I just think that's terribly sad, because it sets us all in motion as young adults and even old adults as to, well, where do I fit in? I've started a job. I've been doing this job for 20 years, and I don't think I like it anymore. But I don't know what else is out there, because I work Monday to Friday. If I'm really unlucky, Monday to Saturday. I've got hardly any time. I'm tired when I go home. Where's the time for me to go and explore other avenues?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And I think, like, you know, the school system and education, like, there's a lot of pressure on kids. I mean, you know, my younger brother, he's 18, he's at college, and he's trying to figure out what he wants to do. And you know, he was feeling under pressure the other day because he's doing some kind of like he's doing a course in a set topic, and he was worried about it. And I said earlier, I was like, you're 18. I was like, you haven't worked yet. I said, this might not be the thing for the rest of your life. You can't think to yourself, this is going to be the thing for the rest of my life. But this thing is, like my mum said as well, it's like a stepping stone to the next thing. It's just, you know, it might lead on to the next thing. It's experience. You're just building on your kind of craft, you know, and these different experiences. And I think, like, it's just how society and how people, how you know, it's passed on from generations. Like, oh, what are you doing? What college are you going to? Oh, and people feel like they need to get their shit together before they even know themselves. I mean,
absolutely. That you just hit the nail on the head. And I just think it's too much pressure at 16, 17, 18. It's still, you don't know yourself. And this is why we have so many, and I include myself in this, so nobody be offended, maladjusted people on the planet, maladjusted adults. We're still trying to find out who the hell we are. We're still trying to find out where the hell we fit in. Some of us feel that stirring inside, and you think, yeah, I was meant for more than this, or I was meant for something different, surely. Yeah, I'm doing this job, but my heart's not in it. I want to do something else, but how do I get into that? What I think I would like, when I don't know what I'd like. You might say, oh, you know, I've thought about moving to Australia. Well, you're not going to buy an airline ticket and then go and buy a house and start a family in Australia. You need to go and test it out first. Now, we're lucky enough because most of us get 2 weeks holiday a year, or we did pre-COVID. Where we could do that. But imagine, you know, when you're a job, we don't have that facility to just tell your employer, if you don't mind, I'm just going to take 2 weeks off and I'm going to try another job for 2 weeks and see if I like that. You know, that we don't live in, capitalism doesn't allow for that. But this is why, going right back to the beginning, why we need to make absolutely certain, as certain as we can do within the parameters that we've been given. And the parameters are pretty damn tight. It's pretty hard to break out of these constructs that we're put in, is to try and find out really what it is you want out of life. Who you are is the most important thing. What is it that drives you? And I'm not talking money. Money drives all of us. We all need money, otherwise we can't put bread on the table. But what drives your soul? What drives your passion? What is it that, let's pretend you were a lottery winner, or just a millionaire who inherited millions, and you didn't actually have to work. And after a year of you being bored as hell and owning a Lamborghini, Ferrari, Bugatti, and everything else, and then you think, okay, I'm bored. My brain is turning to mush. What would it be that you would like to do? What would be the legacy that you would like to leave on this planet before you died? What would you like to be remembered for? What would you like to be thanked for? And those are just, some teaser questions for people to think about, asking themselves. And that's just a starter. Then you can start asking yourself, what is it that I could see myself doing, that it would be a pleasure for me to do, that I get a real sense of achievement, joy, pleasure from helping others, perhaps, which is really what we're all here to do. Whether you like it or not, we are servicing. We are all part of a service industry, no matter what industry you're in. So make sure that you're in the service that you want to be giving. And we need to ask those questions. What is it what area of service do you want to work in? Where are your skills that it would just come naturally to you to do? You wouldn't have to go to college or university for 4 years. It would just be intrinsic in you. And these are things that people need to ask themselves. And these, as I've said, this is just the beginning. There are many, many more questions to be constantly asking yourself, to be building yourself, to be improving yourself. But that's a start. Is find out who you are, and then start working on yourself from there. Once you've established, this is who I am. I would like to be better than this. Let's start working on it.
I think, like you said, that's, I agree with what you said. And I think, asking those questions are like key. They're like, the first steps almost, aren't they? To self-reflect and think, what is it you want to be doing? What impact do you want to be having? And I think, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, what impact are you having in the things that you're doing? And that's, like you said, what you're remembered for. And I saw a quote on Instagram today. It was a picture, and it's quite morbid, but it's quite frank. And it was the Grim Reaper. Yeah. And there was a guy next to the grave, and he's got all this money. This old guy. He's got all this money and all this stuff and everything behind him. And this Grim Reaper says, no baggage.
That's right, no baggage allowed. You can't take it with you.
So it's like, like you said, okay, like the cars, people are driven by money, but, like you said earlier, do what gets you out of bed in the morning. And that fire inside of you, and knowing that you're worth
you tend to find that the people who don't have money are the ones whose goal is to have money. And that there's a truth to that, and there's a realism to that, and there's a rationalism to that. Of course, if you haven't got money, you want money. But that's only half a story. There has to be more than that. Once you have the money, going back to what I said 5 minutes ago, once you've got the money, you've made it. You become a millionaire. You become head of 5 businesses, CEO of multiple companies. Now, what are you? Now what do you do? What is there left? What are you going to be remembered for just having made it from rags to riches? Is that it? That's your story. Oh yeah, he made it from the street all the way to the C-suite. Okay, and but what legacy has that person left? What footprint have they left behind that we should remember them? Simply that they made this journey from nothing to everything. Oh, wow. So they did that all for themselves. Great. How does that help me? Does that inspire me? Maybe a little bit, that anyone can do it. Yeah, okay, I'll get that. But what have they done for anybody else? Did they make anybody smile? Did they make somebody's day brighter during their existence? Did they help somebody up who was worse off than them? Did they care for somebody? And these are the traits that I think now, thanks to COVID, and like I said at the very beginning, we need to, you get rid of all the frustration and the negative, fine, that's normal. Then try and introduce the positive. What are the positive things about COVID? It's introduced to us the fact that we need to be more grateful. We need to help more people. We need to be there for others. It's not just all about us.
Yeah.
And this is something, I think that this is starting to trickle down into more and more people's minds, that we need to look out for our friends, our neighbors. We need to make sure they're okay. The older generation, our kids, we need to be making sure that everyone is okay, and not just us. We can't be selfish. We can't say, well, I'm all right, Jack. And this is a danger, and I see it all the time on LinkedIn, for example, where people are saying, "Oh, if you haven't started a new company, if you haven't written a book, if you haven't learned a new language during the 4 months that you've either been furloughed or stuck at home, then you're an idiot." Well, it isn't like that, I'm afraid, and we shouldn't be listening to that. That's all very selfish stuff. If you've been furloughed or found yourself unemployed or what have you, if you've found yourself alone for the last 3 to 4 months, maybe you needed that time alone to figure out these very questions that we've been talking about tonight. Who am I? What is it I want? This is my time now to reinvent myself. My priorities may have changed. You don't need to have studied. You don't need to have learned a second language or learned to play a new instrument. You don't need to have done that. You just need to have had that time, perhaps. Everybody's different. But don't be stressed out by other people telling you what you should or shouldn't have done. Especially for selfish means. Self-improvement isn't necessarily more money, better skills. Self-improvement is holistic. It's about you figuring out who you are and what it is you're here for.
Yeah. No, I massively, agree with what you said there, and like self-improvement, like there are so many, like you said, on LinkedIn and social media, and people have got so many different kind of distorted kind of like concepts of it and their ideas of it. And
I think they're very basic concepts. I think that's the issue that I have with modern life, and specifically with business. We need business. I'm not decrying that we should suddenly get rid of business and live in some sort of bartering society, but business can be very, very blunt and very basic. It can be a bit Neanderthal at the best of times. And I think we must be guarded against letting business dictate the rules of our lives. We're human beings. We need to dictate to business. No, this is how it's going to be. And that is what I'm hoping post-COVID is going to be like, where people are going to say, you know what? The game needs to change. The rules need to change. And we're changing them. And business is going to have to keep up with us, not us having to keep up with business.
Yeah.
It's very blunt. It's like, this is what you have to go to work. You have to work really hard and you've got to make money. And that's it. It's very blunt. It's very bland. What about customer service? What about helping people? No, we can't do that. Well, why can't we? We've just been through just one of the most bizarre, hurtful periods of the global existence. And you're just thinking that we're going to go back to business as usual, and we're just going to start being selfish and arrogant and egotistical. No, we're not. Things have got to change. No more that blunt tool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, I told you that, the job interview I went for recently, I had like 4 people, I won't name drop who it is, but I was interviewed by 4 people at the same time. And I talked about, what I've done through COVID, my podcast,
Yeah.
and things like that. My interests, my confidences, and I was really selling myself, and I could just tell that they wasn't interested in that because they were just interested in how I could make them money.
Yeah.
What can I, nothing else matters. They just want that priority is them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else, it's a no-go. It's an intimidation to them, and I just felt like there was like no empathy, and I think like I said, it's all experience. But I thought to myself like, there's more to this. I was like, I was thinking to myself, is this how it's come to? You know, if I was interviewing someone or if I owned a business, I understand that business is business and work is work. But I would be like, yeah, that's good. Good for you. That's great. To reassure that person and try and take their skills and their energy and how that can go into the workplace.
Exactly, which is what we were talking about 10 minutes ago, about knowing yourself, knowing what skills you've got, what gifts you've been given, what you've been born with, naturally, intrinsically. I'm good at this. You want the right person for that right job, because that's just they're going to be happy as employees doing a job they love doing because they know how to do it anyway. It's what they're born to do almost. The business owner's happy because he's got people who are happy employees. They're helping the customer. The customer's happy because the employees are happy, and it's a symbiotic relationship. Which again goes back to my disdain for the modern education system. That it just feels like we're just being trained to do something instead of, rather than just read and learn about how to do something, learn it so well that you can then go and be useful to a company. Why aren't we, instead of learning from a book, why aren't we learning from inside? Why aren't we learn, well, what is it that I am? Schools don't like it because businesses don't like it because it's too ephemeral. We can't touch it. It's not tangible. I can touch a pen. I can touch a book. I can do all of that. But when we're talking about something on a different plane, spiritual, ethereal, emotional, people don't want to have anything to do with that. And that's a big mistake because we're human beings. And I'm sorry, but we are built of more than just the flesh, blood, and bone. There is something else that makes us human. And those are all those fuzzy bits. Those are all those airy fairy bits, which are so important to us. And this is, again, going back to why I believe, my opinion, that there are so many maladjusted people out there, because we feel there is something. We can't put our finger on it sometimes, but we know there's something wrong. And we know there's something that we have to adjust. There's somebody we were supposed to be. And this is exactly what we need to be investigating.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I think, like, as human beings, we're worth so much more, and there's so much more to us, because we're not robots. And I think, like, a lot of workplaces, just want us to be like robots, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's why AI is becoming just more and more populous. Everywhere you're seeing they are looking to invent robots to make us redundant, because really that's what business wants. They want someone without the complications of spirit, of soul, of depression, of mental health. They don't want any of these problems. It gets in the way. We're too human. It's so ironic. And yet the customer base is human. Humans need humans. We need interaction. I just think that there is a rich irony there, that businesses as entities don't know who they are. They don't know who their customers are. They don't know what their customers want. They think they know what the customer wants. They think they know. They don't actually know. And they are dictating. And this is where I'm saying, and as I said it 5 minutes ago, we need to be dictating the rules, not having them dictate the rules to us. And I'm just hoping again, I'll say it again, that post-COVID, that we're going to have a change. There's going to be a sea change.
Yeah, I think like people, like before COVID, whilst lockdown happened, is that people almost kind of gave their power to the workplaces and people who they work for, and I think they kind of, a lot of people realize I have the power to do something and change something. I know a lot of people who've created things in the time. One of the managers I had, he's in hospitality, created like his own. Do you know where places, things that do catering for other businesses and things like that?
Yeah.
He like set that up. And I think he works for himself now. He's got his own thing going.
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's definitely a silver lining to, like, you said you're doing lots of different things.
Absolutely.
I've been doing the podcast. You've done we were talking about things earlier.
Yeah. Well, it's the only way. It's learning about self. It's learning, as we're talking about. It's learning about yourself. I'm trying things I've never done before. Things I wasn't taught to do. I never was taught these things at school. I never even tried these things in the process of a job. Trying a podcast for the first time, setting one up, designing logos for my potential new business. I'm just doing all these myself. I could invite other people to do them for me, but I want to test myself. Am I good at doing that? Perhaps that's the route I should be going. I love doing art. As a kid, I loved drawing. And so now I've sort of rekindled those things that I loved as a kid. So now I'm finding, I'm drawing on pieces of paper. I'm learning new software to use software instead of, a pen and paper. And I'm testing myself. I'm growing. I'm finding out what I like, what I don't like. And this is just all part of growth, all part of seeking out who you are. And it's essential. It's essential for people to be constantly testing themselves, challenging themselves, and above all, questioning themselves. What is it I want to be doing? I mean, the things that I'm doing, as indeed you are, and we talk about this regularly as friends. I'm doing this to try and help others along the way. I'm not doing this purely just to make money, just for money's sake. I don't want to just, my goal, Adam, is to make 100,000 by the end of the year so I can buy the latest Porsche Boxster. That's not my goal. My goal is to set up a business that I am then going to help other people. If I can make some money out of it, enough just to put a roof over my head, I'm going to be a very happy bunny.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm listening, trying to figure out the lighting because it's gone dark. Got the.
I love it because this is real life. People always think, I'm, when they're going to watch a podcast or something, that it's got to be polished. To hell, no, it doesn't have to be polished at all. This is reality, people.
I know. So, it's lighter on my side.
Yeah, it's a lot brighter outside than it is inside your car.
I should have just sat in the garden. But,
you should have done. Like the last podcast I think we did, you were in the back garden. That was great.
It's so funny. But yeah, no, I agree with what you said. I think we just need to find it, just try things out and don't be afraid to try, isn't it? I think.
That is an excellent piece of advice. We've got to try, and it's easier said than done. Just say don't have the fear, but have the fear. I think that was a famous phrase for some famous automobile company back in the 80s or the 90s. Feel the fear and just do it anyway. No fear. Just feel the fear. Do it anyway.
Yeah.
There's no problem. There's no issue with you being afraid to do it. But the issue comes if that stops you doing it. Don't let it stop you. Don't let it stop you. I think a lot of that's to do with pride. I know personally, a lot of things that I didn't do in my life 10, 15, 20 years ago is because of pride. What if I fail? What if I look stupid? What if I look like a fool? What if people just laugh at me because, you know, I tried something when they've been telling you, told you so, told you so, told you it wouldn't work. I don't care anymore. I just do it anyway.
Yeah. No, it's just doing it, isn't it? And
Yeah.
not thinking about what people think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot easier said than done. But.
Of course it is. It's learning to put your pride, your ego on the shelf just for a little while you try something out. And it doesn't matter if you fall flat on your face. Just go, okay, I've learned something there. Pick yourself up and just try it again. Don't let that put you off.
Yeah, and I think like that's just like I think it's a constant process, isn't it? I mean, like it's being comfortable, isn't it? I mean, I think back, to when I was a teenager and things, and in the past when I was self-conscious and things like that, and I'm not like that anymore. But sometimes, sometimes we can all feel self-conscious at times, and I think,
of course, yeah.
I think, like you said, it's accepting, it's owning what you're feeling and just saying it.
Yeah.
I think that helped because I did a chat with someone and they said they did like a public thing on stage and they felt nervous and they had to openly say, look, I'm feeling nervous, and they felt better because they owned it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you confront others with your own weakness, then you've taken the power away that they had over you. Because you've already told them, look, I know that I'm all of these negative traits, or these seemingly negative traits. But if I tell you that I'm aware of them, then I've taken the power, I've taken the sting out of it. You can't hurt me because I've already told you that I know. I know that I've got these problems. There's no longer that sort of blackmail almost.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to do. Like you said, you've got to own it. You say, look, I know I'm no Einstein or what have you, but I'm going to give this a go anyway. And people will actually, you'll be surprised that people will actually then be rooting for you because you haven't been arrogant about it. You haven't said, well, I'm going to do this and then fall flat in your face. You said, well, I'm not really very confident about this. I've got no experience. I've got no expertise, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it my best shot. You'll suddenly begin to find a lot of people rooting for you. Why? Because they see themselves in you. You'll be surprised how many people are going through what you're going through. And the problem is that when you stand up and decide that you want to go and do something else, there is, let's be blunt here, there is a little bit of jealousy. Well, how come you're doing it and I can't do it? So when you turn around and you say, well, look, I don't really know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm going to give it a go. They're like, oh, that's like me. Okay, in that case, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah.
Because before that, I thought you were just being an arrogant SOB and thinking that you're better than all of us. It's not that at all. It's not that at all. I mean, do you know how many times I've changed my LinkedIn profile? Because I did it once, I didn't like it. I must have changed it about 20 times. You do something and then you're not happy with it. You think, actually, no, that's not quite right. Let me try this. What is it I'm trying to say? What is it I'm trying to be? Who am I trying to attract? Am I miscommunicating myself? Am I being understood? There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to rethink things. Don't be afraid to start off on a path and then think, actually, you know what? I think I'm going the wrong way. Nothing wrong with that. No one says you've got to continue down that path.
I think that's key. What you said, all of it. And I think like that's the, how can I put it? Like the art almost of being true to yourself.
It's, as you said, owning it. Well, I don't really know what I'm doing, but you know what? There's only really one way to really know, and that's just to do it. You can read all the books you like. You can buy books from experts and read all the audio books of the greats. Until you actually knuckle down and do it yourself, you're never really going to know how it feels and how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
So get out there and do it for yourself and see how it works out, see how it feels.
Mm. Yeah. No,
And
it's definitely.
that's how I've lived my life right up to, you know, today, and how I continue to live my life is, well, I'll give it a go. If it
Mm.
fails spectacularly, I've got two things to learn from that. One, I'm not very good at it, and I can change to learn to be better at it,
Mm.
or I can just walk away from it
Yeah.
because I didn't like it in the first place very much.
Mm. Yeah. No, I agree, and that reminded me of what that comedian said on his podcast, Joey Diaz. He does jujitsu, and he
Yeah,
said I've never done jujitsu, but he said there's always going to be someone out there who's better in some way, and he said the experience of jujitsu is very like mind body. He said you're always constantly, he says, self-reflecting and learning because like different holds and different. He said there's always someone better than you acting and learning. He said there's something quite stoic about it.
yeah. Well, I was the same because I did kickboxing for almost 10 years.
Mm.
And I did competition level. So I wasn't just going to classes just to keep fit. I was going to classes to actually do battles with other clubs. And I'll never forget joining my club. It's a local club, not far from where I'm living right now. And the my tutor, my sensei, on the first day, I asked them because I'd done judo as a kid. And I said, well, where are the belts? I need a belt. And he said, what do you need a belt for? And I said, well, don't we get belts in this club? And he said, belts are only good for holding your trousers up. He said, what's the point of you having a belt? And I said, well, isn't it to show how far we've progressed, how good we are? He said, you're only as good as your last fight. And he goes, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. He said, even the people who you perceive to be the greats, he said, they can get in the ring with somebody who's only just started out and they can still lose to them. Lucky punch, lucky
Mm.
kick. He said, if you're not feeling great, you're going to lose. If your mind's not there, you're going to lose. He said, so make sure your mind's always right. And he said, I can promise you as a human being, it's not always going to be right. So guess what? You're going to lose. Does that
Mm.
mean, that you should give the belt back if you're a green belt or a black belt? No. He said, you know how good you are. It's all about yourself. It's not about showing outwardly to other people, look at me, I'm a black belt, look what I've achieved. He said,
Mm.
there's an arrogance in that. He said, keep it to yourself. Only you know how good you are.
What great advice.
Absolutely. I never, ever forgot that. And hence I love that club. And I think
Wow.
it's very worthy advice for absolutely any situation. We don't need to
Mm.
show and tell other people how far we've come. We can have wisdom within us.
Mm.
And all of us has a wisdom within us because we've all had experiences that other people may not
Mm.
have had.
Mm. Mm.
We don't need to show all those qualifications. Oh, I've got an MSc, I've got a PhD. Okay. So what? Can you do what is needed of you
Mm.
in the moment that it is needed?
Mm.
And that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And
If
having all those qualifications isn't necessarily going to be the thing that's important at the end of the day. As I've said before, what is business about? What is life about? Because you could argue that life is a transactional thing like business.
Mm.
Life is about relationships, right? We
Yeah.
relate to each other.
Mm.
So what do we need in a relationship? Be it a romantic relationship, a business relationship, a friendship relationship,
Mm.
a family relationship. What is it we need? We need to know how to interact with one another,
Mm.
to make each other feel at peace, be harmonious, and show some humility and some respect.
Mm.
And we can only do that if we understand ourselves. And that's why, going right back to the beginning, we need to be asking questions of ourselves. Going back to how you even said you don't want to take that job because you thought it might impact negatively on you, which then, like a domino, is going to impact negatively on those around you that you care about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Relationships. A PhD is not going to help you do that, I'm afraid. An MSc is not going to help you do that. There's nothing wrong with those things. It's like having a belt in karate. There's nothing wrong with you having it. All I'm saying is, as my sensei told me, it's not essential.
Yeah.
You can live without it. You can do just as well without it. Don't ever feel a lesser person because you haven't got it.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think that's, great advice. And, people are more than just titles, aren't we? And I think, we shouldn't just strive just to get that title, because I think sometimes people are on that journey, almost on that train, and then they get to that stage and then they're like, oh, is this it? I got here, and now what?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a bit like the money. Once you've got the title, or once you've got the money, now what?
Yeah.
What are you doing with it? What was the purpose of you getting that? You hear people all the time, and it's normal, it's natural. Oh, I really want to get my PhD. Okay. Now tell me why. Is it because the job you're going for demands that you have one? Or is it because you think that by having that, you're going to be able to have a little more power? What is I'm looking for the reason all the time when I talk to people, when they say, this is what I want out of life. And I have to ask them, but why? If the answer isn't, I'm looking for happiness, or I'm looking to bring happiness to others. If the answer is anything but something along those lines, then I always ask them, but why? Why do you want that? Oh, I want to have a big house in Beverly Hills. Okay, but why? Is it because you want people to look at you and think, wow, are you missing something? Is there a question you haven't asked yourselves and you haven't resolved in yourself that you need attention? Is there something we need to visit? Is there something we need to explore? Why are you here?
It's quite a powerful question, isn't it? It's very simple, but it's very quite powerful when you think about it. Why,
Most people can't answer it because it's too, they can answer it. They don't want to answer it because it is like looking into a very dark crevasse, into an abyss. It's a little bit scary to look into it because you can, if you're not holding on tight, you can feel that vertigo. Oh my God, I don't think I want to answer this question because I might not like the answer. I don't know why I'm here. And then you start feeling the vertigo. Well, what am I doing? Why am I getting out of bed in the morning? Why am I going to the job that I hate? And I tell people that you just need to just take a deep breath, ground yourself, and just rethink your options, your potentials, because there are so many out there. Rethink your values. And it's all right if your value is simply to have a job, come home to a loving family, and live very quietly. And if that is your dream, I'm not taking that away from you. And I think that's great that you have that deep-rooted belief that that is what you want, and your gift is to bring love and happiness to your family. I think that's wonderful. I don't want to be misunderstood now. I don't want people to say, oh, you're trying to make people suddenly feel bad for having ordinary, perhaps dull, boring, monotonous jobs. Not at all. And I've done those jobs, so I know. I'm talking to those people who are feeling a little bit lost, who are feeling within them that there's something not quite right. There's something else. They could be doing something better. They have a gift, perhaps. They know they've got this natural ability built within them that they're not using. Maybe that they sometimes show at the weekends, and people go, oh, you know what, mate, you should have been on stage. You're funny.
Yeah.
Man, you did that drawing of my dog, and it's amazing. Why didn't you ever become an artist? I think,
Mm.
well, I had to go to work to pay the bills. Maybe it's time to revisit where your priorities are, if it's able for you to do so, and consider utilizing those skills full time.
Mm. No, I think you're right. And I think, like, I did a video recently and it was about, like, time, and there's no right or wrong time. And like Colonel
No, there
Sanders
isn't.
at KFC was like 65 when he did KFC.
That's right. Absolutely right. It doesn't matter when. That's what I'm telling people. If they are going to start asking those difficult questions, looking into that abyss, don't have that vertigo about, oh my God, time's slipping away and I haven't done what I should be doing. Don't. Stop. Have a breather. It's all right. It's going to be all right. You have all the time in the world. Do it when you're ready. The fact that you've just even asked yourself the question, perhaps, is enough. You've had an awakening. Just even to ask yourself that question: what am I doing actually with my life? Am I going in a direction that I'm happy with? That's what I'm asking, really. I'm hoping that people are going to be happy with their lives, and if they're not, if there's that small, going right back to the beginning, when you said dipping the toe in the water, before you enter into a relationship or into a job, if your life doesn't tick all the boxes, figure out what it is that you could do that would tick those boxes, those important boxes. My dad always used to ask me when I was young, Adrian, do you want to work on the land, in the sea, in the air? What is it you want? Do you want to work in the mountains, in the forests, in the deserts? It can be as basic as to start off with as that. If you always had this desire, maybe once you went on a mountaineering holiday, or you went skiing once in your life and you thought, wow, I absolutely love the mountains. Maybe that's something you need to explore. Maybe you need to have a complete change of scenery and a complete career change. Go where your heart really feels at peace. I'm trying for people to find out where they really do belong, rather than lying to themselves about where they belong and sacrificing their happiness for somewhere that they think they have to remain. You've got two legs. Get up and use them to go and walk.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't got any legs. You've got a brain. Go and transport yourself. There are people who've got far less than us, and they have achieved far greater. And it doesn't, I'm not talking achievement in terms of money or notoriety. I'm talking about they've achieved their dream, perhaps showing other people that there's more to life, that nothing stopped them. What's stopping you?
No, I definitely agree. It reminds me of the where I live. Down a couple of years ago, there was that tragic boat accident in the sea where one of the Sky News guy and the boat went round.
I remember.
The woman, I can't remember her name, but the lady, she's quite very attractive. She was caught in that mess, and she ended up losing a leg. And she does like TED Talks and stuff. She did like a TED Talk, and she's gone through all that trauma, and she's got a prosthetic leg. She's still on stage telling her story about what happened.
That's
and
right.
she's doing something. She's
right.
not being a victim. And
no,
like
and what I love is that she's giving back. When I'm asking the question, what are you here to do? It's not just to make money for yourself. She's giving back. She's doing something for society at large. She's telling people not to give up, to those people in the audience who may have thought about giving up, whatever it is that they were doing and wanted to give up. She's saying, don't give up. I've been through something and it didn't stop me. And I think these sort of talks by these people who've had these experiences are essential to us. And I hope I can follow in their footsteps a little bit. I've lived a hell of a life, and I've done all kinds of things. And if I can help somebody else to navigate or to steer away from things that I've experienced, then I want to do that too. I want to offer that to other people. So, yeah, it's just asking questions of ourselves, I think, is an essential part of our everyday life.
I you know, always. I think. No, so I think, you know, with what you're doing, you know, is like, you know, great, and you know, I think you have so much to offer, and you know, talking to you, you know, you're real and you're genuine and you're just honest and you say it how it is, and
well,
you
I
know,
think if you're false, if you're inauthentic, then it's literally when, not if, people will see through you and will see the lie. They will see the falseness. So why bother?
Yeah.
I'd rather just you know, like you said about fear, and just if you show people, if you tell people the truth, look, I don't have the experience, I'm feeling a bit nervous, and you own it, then you have a lot less to fear. And so I'm doing the same thing. I'm very open with people. You know, I don't have this or this, but this, in spite of that, or despite that, or nevertheless, I have this, and this. So again, I'm very keen on balance in life. I'm very keen on balancing the negative with the positive. I'm not one of these people that banishes the negative. I see that too much on LinkedIn, which worries me. Toxic positivity, where people only want to hear positive things. They only want to hear applause. They only want to hear praise. I'm not against that. I'm saying balance it. When you want to be real, you want to tell people that there is a downside to this, but here is the plus side, and I want to give you both, and for you to be able to choose. And I want to tell people to be aware, not to sugarcoat things in life.
Yeah.
I haven't been talking to you to tell people that life is going to be great if they ask themselves these deep questions and change their life. I'm telling them that life is hard no matter what you do. You could be stuck in a boring job and want to have an exciting life. But if you choose that exciting life, let me tell you, as someone who did just follow their dreams and their hearts, that there are some huge difficulties to overcome doing that as well. I'm not sugarcoating anything. All I'm trying to say is be honest with yourself. Look at both sides. Going back to you dipping a toe in the water, be sure before you make the leap in whatever it is that you have a decision to make over. Be informed. Have all the information in front of you. Don't let anyone sugarcoat anything, and don't let anyone just poison you with negativity about anything either. Don't be swayed by one particular person, two particular people, three particular, even 100 people telling you this is a bad idea. If one person can tell you, actually, you know what? It's not such a bad idea. Give it a go. It didn't work for those 100 people. It just might work for you. Because we are all very different. This is another little pet hate about business. It's a bit like a giant pharmaceutical company, in that they just churn out things, one size fits all. And that's disagreeable to me.
Yeah.
Whenever you need a shirt or a suit, you go into the
Mm.
shop and you buy whatever it is, 38 regular or 38 short or whatever, and your trousers or whatever. You know what? It's never going to fit you as good as going to a tailor who
Yeah.
measures you as an individual.
Mm.
And what have we done? We've got rid of those. We've got rid of tailors. We'd rather just buy something off the rack.
Mm.
And that just, when I first started to care about clothes and how they fit me and stuff like that, that really hit me. I thought, why have we done that? It just in the name of ease, in the name of profit for the business, in the name of ease for us. I can put my hand on the suit and buy it now instead of having to wait a week for the tailor to knock it up.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, isn't that just like life? We want everything off the shelf. We want everything off the hanger.
Mm.
We don't want to have to, we want everything immediately. We want everything prepared, microwave. We want everything instant. And it's not really good for us.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think like with the tailored suit, it's that relationship and the experience of it, isn't it? Going in there,
Exactly. Everything.
yeah.
It's everything. And
Mm.
this is just a euphemism for life, for your life. It's for everybody's life. Is don't just pick a job off the rack. Don't just go and get a degree or a qualification off the rack because, well,
Because it looks good.
It looks good. Yeah, it kind of looks good. It's not perfect for me, but it looks all right. It'll do. Don't just take that job because it'll do. It looks all right. Don't do that if you can possibly help it. Go to a tailor. Get the right fit. Get the right fit for your job. Get the right fit for your relationship. Get the right fit for your lifestyle. Get the right fit for your friendships and your relationships. Get the right fit. Take the time. Invest. Buying a suit from a tailor ain't cheap, but it's an investment. And people notice. People look at you and go, where'd you get that suit? And you're like, well, I got it bespoke. I got it tailor-made. Ooh, it really looks good. It fits you perfectly. People will notice in your face, in the way you carry yourself, when you have the right fit in your life for your personal relationships, your family relationships, your job, your business. They will notice the way you are. You'll be just, because your life will be starting to go right. You'll be doing things that you believe in. You won't have just followed the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think they're such important points, and I think it's something that we should think about, and like it's that going that kind of extra mile, isn't it? And instead of having that instant gratification, okay, go into the place, it's like kind of almost imagining yourself from like a third person kind of view, isn't it? Like looking at yourself almost. Like
That's
how
uncomfortable. That can be
yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah,
You ever catch yourself in a reflection in a window, in a shop window, or in a mirror?
yeah,
And sometimes you think, oh my God, do I really look like that?
yeah, yeah,
And it can be uncomfortable. But you're
yeah,
absolutely right. We have to do that with ourselves, not from a physical point of view, but from a holistic point of view in every aspect of our lives. We've got to look outside. We've got to be outside of ourselves, looking in and saying, okay, so that's me working here in this job, doing this. I'm in this relationship. How do I feel about all of that?
yeah,
And, going back to the suit analogy, it's expensive. And I use that analogy because doing anything to improve yourself is an investment of time. And time is the most precious commodity you have. So if you can start to invest a little bit of time in yourself to figure out who you are and what it is that you want, then you're going to get a better fit. The more investment, the more money I save to be able to go to the tailor
Mm.
The better style and the better fit of suit I'm going to be able to afford. The same thing with your life. If you can invest a little bit more time in figuring out what you want based on who you are, you're going to get a better fit in your life.
Yeah.
This has taken me 45, 46 years to figure that out. I'm only just starting out on a business I should have perhaps started 20 years ago. On saying that, as we talked before you started recording, of course I'm going to say that I wish I'd started this 25 years ago. Actually, the timing is perfect because I wasn't the person I am today 25 years ago.
No.
So So I say to people, if you're looking to the abyss and thinking, oh my God, I'm asking myself these questions, I'm not where I want to be, don't freak out. It's all right. When the time is right, and there is a time for everything in life. When the time is right, you'll know. You just know. Don't ask me how. There's no book on it. There's no bestseller you can buy which will tell you when the time is to change your life, to figure out when it is to start that business, when the time is to buy that round the world ticket and go explore. There is no time that anyone else can tell you. Only you know that. Only you know when you have invested enough time in yourself to get the right fit for your life. Only you'll know. I've only just discovered that now. And that's partly thanks to COVID, I've got to say. It's partly due to the fact that I had to leave South America when there was a revolution that changed my life. That's something I had no control over. If you have people, and we talked a little bit about this before we started recording, when business people especially, say there's no such thing as luck, I beg to differ, and I will happily argue and discuss that if ever they want to bring that up with me. There is such a thing as luck. You can call it fate. You can call it the universe, whatever. There is such a thing. There are things that you have no control over that will steer you in a certain direction. I was happily living in South America as an English teacher. Bang! Suddenly there's a revolution. President is gone. Gets on a plane and flies to Mexico. The country goes into lockdown. The airport's about to close. I get on a plane before the airport closes, and I'm back in England. I had no control over any of that. I'm now back in England just before coronavirus hits, and I'm thinking, well, what the hell do I do now? I have no work. What's my future? And that's when I had to look inside myself. What is it? I need to invest. I need to get this tailored suit on. I need to feel good. I need to feel right. I need to look good in what it is that I'm doing for a living. And that's when I invested this time in myself, and I decided, well, okay, I figure out who I am. And now I figured out who I am and what my gifts are, what my skill set is. Now I can start to utilize those things and use those things to give back to other people.
Yeah. I think, like, the journey that you've had, and like you said, you've come to this place now where you kind of know yourself a lot more, and you realize that you're gonna do these projects, but like all those experiences are kind of like led up to like the person that you are today, isn't it? And I think that's one of the
and why is it projects? Just so that people understand, why is it projects plural? It's because I don't know. I haven't got a completely clear idea of what it is I need to be doing. I've got a rough area. It's like parachuting from a plane. You've got that X you're meant to land on. I'm not exactly, I can't actually see that X. I know it's in one of these fields. But so I'm just heading in that general direction. The nearer I get to the ground, I'm going to see the X, and then I can adjust my course. So that's why I've got projects plural, because I'm not really sure which one is the best fit. It's like you go to the tailors, you're going to get a tailor-made suit. That's great. Now you've got to pick the color and you've got to pick the material. Now, these are two things I haven't made my mind up on. So it's like that.
Yeah.
I'm going in the right area. I've got to the tailor shop. That's great. I've got that far. I've invested the time.
Yeah.
Now I've got to invest a little bit more time in deciding now really what's best for me, what color, what material. In the case of my business, which is the business I want to take further than the others? Which one do I want to invest even more time? Which one do I really believe is going to be the best for myself and for other people? Because if it's for me and I love it, then I'm going to give more to others. It's going to show. It's going to just naturally reflect. And so that's what I'm just working on now. So that's why I'm not advertising anything that I'm doing at the moment, because I haven't figured out exactly which is the one. But in the future, I will I'll let you know what it is that I've decided on.
Yeah, no, of course. And
but
I'll
if
definitely...
other people are thinking this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, just you hear that term, fingers in many pies. There's a reason for that. You want to try things, like going back to you dipping a toe in the water. It's all about that.
Yeah.
Don't just focus on one thing. Don't put your eggs. We're bringing out all the metaphors tonight, all the old sayings. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. They're cliches for a reason, because they're true and they work. So just do that. Just try stuff. Try stuff.
I love the analogy of the sooner, and I completely agree with what you said. And I think, like, just to go with it and just to try stuff, and not just focus on one thing. And there's so many points. I've got 4% battery on my phone. But I don't want it to die and lose the recording. But yeah, no, like, Adrian, it's been like, an absolute pleasure talking to you again.
Always, Adam. Same for me.
I always look forward to talking to you. Yeah.
Same for me, Adam. It's always an honor when you invite me onto your shows, because I relish the time that we share together.
Yeah. No, I feel...
Are you back? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, cut off. Yeah.
That's all right. No problem. But yeah, so we'll definitely keep doing this again, because it's really great to be on your show.
Yeah.
So thank you once again for inviting me on.
No, you're very welcome. But we'll do it again, Adrian.
Definitely. Get yourself indoors. It's looking pretty dark out there.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.